Birmingham's one of 3 Alabama cities in the heart of the civil rights movement.
Civil rights groups used to gather, fighting for equality.
Birmingham civil rights legend Reverend Calvin Woods Sr. was there on the front line. At 87 years old, Woods has lived through the civil rights movement of the 1960s and this past summer's nationwide movement in the wake of George Floyd's death.
And WVTM 13's Bria Douglas sat down with him for a unique perspective on race, then and now.
Born a black man in Birmingham in the 1930s, Calvin Woods Sr. didn't have many opportunities. Instead, he created his own through getting an education. At only 12 years old, he attended segregated Parker High School, where his love of learning flourished.
My mother and father instilled in all of us, there were 11 children, brothers and sisters of us, all of us, to further our education.
That push to excel academically led to Woods receiving scholarships to go to Miles College. And by the time he entered his 20s, he actively participated in the civil rights movement, joining boycotts and facing arrests.
I said, if you pay your money like the other folk, you ought to sit wherever there's a seat, and you don't have to get up for nobody and all like that. I did that. As a young man, I did that. And they arrested me for that and sentenced me to 6 months at hard labor. Fined me $500, and I got fired from my job just for speaking. And that's how I really got way out into the movement.
During the civil rights movement, he linked up with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who leaders in Birmingham called seeking help to break down racial barriers in the city.
I enjoyed working with Dr. King. I never thought that I would be working with him.
Woods even spoke at events in Dr. King's place when he couldn't attend them himself.
Sometimes I was almost frightened to death. I was afraid. I knew I wasn't Dr. King.
But he never let fear stop him from fighting for equal rights, just like people did here at Kelly Ingram Park this past summer in the aftermath of George Floyd's death. As someone who protested in the 1960s, Woods understood their anger.
I don't know what Dr. King would have said or what anybody would have done. The man got his dang old police on a man's neck or something like that. We didn't experience anything just like that. Anybody who wasn't upset about that, I don't care who it was. You know, God moving in them. So I was very upset about it.
And he also gets upset when people compare the Black Lives Matter protests to the riots on the U.S. Capitol.
That's a lie. No comparison. No comparison in that. Those people were violating the law. Black Lives Matter wasn't violating no law. They're trying to save life. Crying out, they're upset because police taking somebody's life.
Ultimately, Woods acknowledges America's come a long way since the civil rights movement.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
With the country having its first black president, but says over the past 4 years, we've lost momentum. Even though we're deeply divided, the Reverend has faith for a better future.
Change is possible. Nothing is impossible with God. And in the midst of all of this, I see a brighter day coming. It's coming.
I'm gonna let it shine.
In Birmingham, Bria Douglas, WVTM 13.